Let's talk about technology and your photography business. Welcome to my photography business channel. My name is Rosh. This video is part of a series of 31 videos that I'm creating in the month of May to support you with your photography business. Now, I have a download in the description below that has some great questions to get you kick-started if you're just starting a photography business or you're rebooting your already existing business. If you want to grow your photography business, I recommend you check it out. There's one thing that I know of that every great image creator, every photographer has done throughout history. This video is about a candid conversation related to technology and photography in your photography business. This is an important video as you move forward because the thing is, I've seen a lot of photographers through the years give up photography. Photography, a career that they loved because technology shifted so much in the photography world. Digital is a big one. Around the year 2000, I talked with a lot of photographers who just hung up their cameras and didn't go back because they were not willing to get into digital, learn the difference between analog and digital, and what could be accomplished with all these new opportunities, with Photoshop becoming standard, with digital files becoming standard and even required as part of the photography job. They just quit. Now, as we move forward, I need to remind you that technology is always changing photography. Going all the way back to the beginning of photography, it was a new technology at the time. Photography was a new technology that grew and continued to grow and change over time, and it's continued from Kodak offering the Brownie camera all the way through now. With each evolution, photography has become easier and easier and more accessible to the masses. And so you need to understand that. That's why you need to be a few steps ahead. And what I often recommend that you do is consider what I refer to as the combination code. Years ago, when I was talking to photographers who were struggling through the recession, I noticed that some photographers were having a really hard time. I mean, some of these photographers had incredible portfolios. They worked with some of the biggest brands and they started to have some problems. They weren't connecting anymore. They weren't getting the jobs anymore. And there were these other photographers who were doing okay despite the recession. And I asked them what was the difference. And usually, most of the time, they had what I then referred to as an and. And I started asking other photographers, what is your and, especially if they were successful? And for many of them, they were a photographer and a videographer, or maybe a photographer and a writer. But they added something that was unique to their core, which for us is photography. Now, this works in many different types of businesses, but as a photographer, we know photography is our core. So we need to figure out, what are we combining with it to separate ourselves from the competition, to create our brand? And when we create a great brand, one, it's harder for people to compete with us because, especially if we're using the combination code, they may not have our combination, which benefits many people. And again, sometimes that combination can be a style, sometimes it's a process. Maybe you're taking something from another industry, but we also have technology. Technology continues to offer us opportunities. Virtual reality, three-dimensional worlds. There's so much out there. It's scary sometimes, obviously, where photography and visuals are going. I mean, the basic fact is, this person isn't real. In this scene, nope, not real either. And that is probably a really scary thought if you have not seen these things before. Yes, this person here, not real. And so we have to defend ourselves against that and create something that's going to be more desirable than computer-generated scenes. And as computers get better and better, they're going to create some pretty nice scenes. So we need to add that human element. And that's why I've started to add this symbol to my photos and my videos here and there to represent the fact that it was created by a human. Maybe you want to do the same thing. Right now is just the time to get the conversation going. Who knows what the symbol will be? And yes, artificial intelligence and computer programs can put this symbol on their imagery too, but that's going to take the community and, quite honestly, society to decide how we approach that, because that can be done with a copyright also. So we need to decide in the future how we're going to approach human-created versus non-human created. I'm interested in your thoughts on this. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Many of us are on top of the latest camera gear. I'm not a big gear person, although I have written a couple books on gear. The fact is, I really do focus on and believe that photography really is about the individual's vision and what they bring to the table in terms of the imagery they create. And the equipment, they're just tools. I mean, I'm recording this on a Canon Rebel and I'm using a kit lens, and maybe you can tell, but it's getting the job done. And I could create an entire campaign of incredible images with all of the basics of photography. I mean, all I need is shutter speed and aperture and an ISO of some sort to figure out what that exposure is that I'm going to use and go from there. I mean, all the other things inside the camera, the things that it does, is it really necessary? I mean, if I'm using the automatic stuff, the filters that everybody else is using, am I really different? So I like to keep everything basic, despite all of the opportunities with technology. I like to bring my own thing to the table. But then I can add other types of technology that don't come through the camera and camera lens that make it my own. And I develop my own style. And that's what we all have to do. But we have to keep an eye out of what is coming next. What are the new opportunities in creating visual images? Maybe there's an opportunity to combine your work with artificial intelligence. Maybe there is an opportunity to combine your work with virtual reality, 3D worlds. Maybe with music, maybe with video, writing, slideshows, cinemagraphs, high-speed photography, slow-speed photography. There's so many things, and it's not going to end. Over the last 200 years, photography and technology have not stopped moving. It's only the photographers that stopped moving and got left behind. There are other people ready to pick up the mantle and move forward. So why don't you keep an eye out there? Don't put your head in the sand. Don't be afraid. Look for something new to combine with your photography, something that people can use, would appreciate. It does take some experimentation, and that's the key. There's one thing that I know of that every great image creator, every photographer has done throughout history. The people that were the best were the ones that created the most. They photographed every single day. They photographed every single day. They honed their craft, and that's what you need to do too. Every single day, create something new in a new way. Approach your photography differently. Use different lighting techniques. Use different computer programs. Don't keep using the same old stuff, because the same old stuff that you use today, and if you think you're going to use it for the next 5 years, believe me, 5 years from now, everybody else is going to be using the latest. And if you're still stuck, just because your images look great, and they do today, but will they be what is required 5 years from now? Hey, I'll see you in the next video.